What's going on, everybody? It's Antonio from Akari Press. We're on the Indiegogo. $66,437. Santana, baby. Triple cover package, of course, still ongoing. If you want it, head on over to Indiegogo or just type in AkariPress.com. It'll take you right there. The link, of course, is in the description. All right. So, the big one, Game of Thrones. Season 8, Episode 5. The episode is called The Bells. Alright, so let's get into it. Okay. They made the mistake. I did the video the previous week. They made that mistake with the Starbucks cup, which apparently Amelia Clark is a big Starbucks person because what's the actress that plays Sansa? She was on the Tonight Show and she put it out there that that cup belonged to Amelia Clark. So Amelia Clark, Daenerys Stormborn, she was the one that brought the Starbucks cup onto the set and had it on the table, and they just forgot to take it off. And now somebody spotted that Starbucks cup because the fans are going screen to screen every shot on these particular episodes, and it went viral. It was on Reddit. It was everywhere. Millions and millions of people seen it, which brought even more people to the streaming like HBO Now and on demand, all their little streaming platforms, just to see the Starbucks cup. Because I watched the episode a couple times and I never noticed the Starbucks cup. And then when I knew the Starbucks cup was there, I went back and watched it and the Starbucks cup was there and I started laughing my ass off. It was hilarious. Okay, so HBO was so embarrassed by this that they actually pulled the episode down, digitally removed the Starbucks cup, and re-uploaded it. Normally they would not do that until it goes out on Blu-ray on the box sets, but because so many people called them out, they were like, no, we can't, let's go ahead and take it. So they went ahead and digitally scrubbed the Starbucks cup out. So you would think in this episode 5, that there would be no way in hell that they would make that kind of mistake again, right? Wrong. Right there at the end, Jaime Lannister hugging Cersei right before the big death scene, and they're holding each other, and you can see Jaime's hand, the hand that got cut off. You know, he has that big Lannister gold hand that replaced his severed hand. And they did not digitally scrub that out, or they did not have the shot set up where he would not be showing his hand. And the fans spotted it. I don't know if they're going to correct that, but there's been this has been a controversial episode. This has been a controversial season. Matter of fact, the last 2 seasons, because everybody's like, man, they needed at least another 2 seasons or something to kind of flesh some of this out, because they're whipping you from place to place. It's just going all over the place, and you can't, before you try to catch your breath, all this stuff just keeps happening, and then you're like, oh my god, wait a minute, hold up, this, you just, okay, and then so you can't really soak everything up. And obviously, a lot of people didn't like that Arya killed the Night King. It was just so much. Which again, the Night King only exists in the television series. The character, the Night's King, is in the books and has been long dead, according to George R.R. Martin. So the Night's King from the actual Game of Thrones books, that character is different from the Night King that Arya Stark killed, that they only created for the television show. But there was an article about the ratings for these particular set of episodes. There was only a 53% score on Rotten Tomato for this season. This season will go down as the lowest rated, and I'm saying critically rated, from like fan service or whatever, because they had like at least 3 or 4 other seasons, and they were like 76%, 86%, 94. You know which seasons the fans seem to like. The Rotten Tomato score, as of the last time I just checked it, it was like at 53%. So this is going to go down as the lowest critically rated season in all of the 8 seasons of Game of Thrones. However, this particular episode, the Bells that aired on Sunday night, is the highest rated episode of Game of Thrones in history. 18.4 million streams. That is, no episode of Game of Thrones has ever streamed that much. That was one night, 18.4 million, and it is growing. Obviously, we've had Monday and now Tuesday. By the time Sunday comes around, more people will watch it. But that first night, they got 18.4. There are network television shows that don't get that high of a rating. So basically people are watching it, and then they're going on social media and going, man, this sucks. And then they come back again and watch the next. But let's actually get into a couple of things that I thought, I've got a list here that I thought were interesting. Okay, so the previous episode where they killed, Rhaegar? Varys had pretty much put it out there that he was thinking about a change of regime. He thinks Jon Snow should be the heir to the throne. He's obviously Rhaegar Targaryen's trueborn son. With Lyanna Stark, they were actually married, so he's Aegon Targaryen, and he should, by right of succession, he is actually ahead of Dany in line to the throne. But hey, she's the one with the dragon, so what you gonna do? But yeah, 18.4 million people watched. Varys, like I said, Varys had put it out there that he was thinking about making that move. Tyrion warned him. Jon got off the boat. You see Varys make his move. He was like, hey, you the man, right? And Jon didn't take the bait, but Tyrion was watching. He goes to Dany, and he goes, hey, somebody betrayed you. And she thinks it's Jon because, I'm going to talk about that later, but she thinks it's Jon. She is always of the mindset that, hey, Jon is, even though Jon's saying he don't want the throne, he really wants the throne. And since he decided that he wasn't going to give her the D anymore, she is just taking everybody's an enemy now, because all of her loyal friends and supporters are dead except for Grey Worm. Everybody else that, all her, or the majority of her Dothraki blood riders have been wiped out, at least the ones that they would feature the most, because when they did the burial, the funeral pyre and all that kind of stuff, you saw that one guy that he was one of her main blood riders. I'm trying to think, I think it was season 7, where he was telling Tyrion that, hey, all your soldiers can't fight and all that. That guy, I wish I could remember his name, but he was one of the main Dothraki guys, and they made sure they showed his face when they did the funeral pyre to show that he is dead. So that is what it is. So they did obviously still have some Dothraki, because they felt the need to come back out and explain. They was like, y'all thought all the Dothraki died. We lost half of our forces, so they're still Dothraki. They're still unsullied. So obviously, if you watch this episode here, which obviously look at all this beautiful footage, man, this is. But you see the Dothraki come in, and they're still out there doing their thing. But I hated to see Varys go out like that. I felt like he maybe should have got a better death. His death was better than Littlefinger's, though. The way they killed Littlefinger, that shit was trash. I did not like that. But there was a touching moment where Tyrion, touches Varys, and he's like, goodbye, old friend, and all that. And then she, that was a good shot with Dany and Jon Snow. And then you see Drogon's big head just kind of come up over her head, and she goes, Dracarys, and he just roasts Varys, and it was a wrap. So I thought that was dope. That was, that scene really did a lot for me. I didn't hate the episode. I thought it was okay, but I understand why there's a lot of fans going, oh, dude, what are y'all doing? Because I really was critical last season. I thought they I thought they just rushed through so much. Oh, you're in King's Landing. Now you're all the way in Winterfell. Oh, and you're just jumping all over the place. Okay, let's talk about the Iron Fleet and Drogon, because they had set it up when Euron killed Rhaegal, that those scorpions was just on another level. You had set it up like, oh man, Danny, how are you going to get through all of them? And they had them not over only on all the ships, all the primary points throughout the city have those scorpions set up all over. So if there was a dragon flying overhead, they're just going to get shot. So they had it all set up. And then what she do? She just runs in and just bum rushes. Drogon was stupid overpowered. He just starts wiping everybody out. Whoa, it's just crazy. And then I just was like, oh my God, it was utter devil. They talked about, I think they had at least 30 stuntmen that were on that were fire stuntmen that were getting burned up, and they got burned at least twice. They said all the stuntmen got burned at least twice, because there were scenes like when they were burning King's Landing, there were scenes where they would just dress them up in a different way, and then because they had to show like women and children getting burned and stuff, so a lot of them got burned. Like when they that was the Golden Company, the way they bring the Golden Company in, make it seem like they're gonna be a big deal, you're gonna get a big battle, and then they just get and it's like nothing. I thought that was bullshit. I didn't like that. I really thought that they could have done a little bit more with the Golden Company, since they were making it seem like, hey guys, we've been talking about the Golden Company, and then they got washed. I mean, they got washed so fast. And you see here, this is one of the on the screen here, the stuntman, they're setting it up for him to get burned up. And like I said, these stuntmen had to get burned up a couple times during the filming of this. And I saw the directors talking like it took almost 7 months just in various shoots and stuff to get all this right. And that they actually had to build, because they were shooting a lot of those King's Landing shots, like season 3, season 4, when like Joffrey was still alive and he's walking through the city and stuff. Those were real. I think they shoot in Prague. I know they shoot in Belfast, Prague, Iceland. They got like 4 or 5 different locations. But I think that little village is in Prague somewhere, but someone can correct me in the chat. And obviously those people like living there, and they're not going to let their city get burned up and blowed up. So they actually had to go. They took the whole back lot and created this whole mini city. And just watching, this is on the Game of Thrones YouTube channel here, and they got so much footage of them just rebuilding stuff and creating. I thought it was really, really good. But yeah, Drogon was just stupid overpowered. Arya, I liked Arya with Sandor Clegane, and but let's actually talk, because I like when the Hound grabbed Arya. The Hound grabbed her, and he was like, "Hey, if you keep going with me, you're gonna die. Don't die." You know what it was like? And he starts walking off, and she's like, "Thank you," but I don't know. I know I'm a sap, but I was hoping he would just tell her to go find Gendry and have some babies, girl. That's what I know people, I'm probably gonna catch hell for saying that, but that's what I wanted him to tell her. I wanted it was like, because I don't know, I want Arya and Gendry to get together. So but the Clegane Bowl, oh my God, let's talk about that. Clegane Bowl, that was epic, but it was also like on some it was all on some Resident Evil type stuff. He literally ran his sword completely through the guy's body, and he pulls the sword out like, yeah, man. I mean, he's like stabbing him through the heart, and he's like, yeah, I don't need a heart anymore. And so he just pulls the sword out, and then also stabbed him directly in the skull. He stabbed the mountain in the skull, and nothing happened. He just pulled the knife out. So when you start doing that kind of he's kind of undead at that point. Whatever Qyburn did to him, whatever that process was, yeah, he's definitely undead. But oh man, let's rest in peace to Qyburn too. By the way, and let's go back. Okay, so let's actually go back to the Cersei death because as you can see right here on the screen, they were showing that scene where Dany just said "the hell with it," and she just went insane. She went completely. I see people online saying she's the Mad Queen, and instead of not the Mad King, she's the Mad Queen. She completely went bananas. Tyrion had asked her, and Jon Snow heard it, like, hey, if they surrender the city to you, you're gonna hear the bells ring. So I just need to make sure that you understand, if the bells are ringing, that's the city surrendering, so that you don't have to keep killing everybody. She nods her head, yeah, I agree, okay, whatever. And obviously she had no intention of keeping her word. That bell was ringing. Everybody's scared. You see the Lannister swordsmen, they all dropped their swords. The battle's over. And she goes, all right, I'm just gonna keep killing y'all. The hell with this. And she just goes crazy with Drogon and just starts burning the whole entire city down. Just people, just men, women, children, everybody. Then all of a sudden the Unsullied and the Dothraki, everybody's running in there. You see Jon Snow has to kill one of his own soldiers because, and this dude, he grabs the guy. The guy's trying to rape this woman, and he grabs the guy, and the guy sees him. He sees that whatever, Jon's not the king in the North anymore, but he's definitely the Lord of the North. He knows who Jon is. It's not like he's like, who are you? He knows exactly who that is that's grabbing him, like, why are you trying to rape this woman? And he tries to kill Jon, and Jon has to take him out. So I was like, whoa, this is getting crazy. I thought that was a powerful scene. All the stuff with Drogon, I really thought it was dope. Arya just running around, just bleeding, she got all that dust and stuff on her face, and just looked like she got a concussion. There was just chaos and bedlam. It was a great episode. And then you see the final death with Cersei and Jaime, where because he gets her to the place where they were supposed to escape, and there's all that rubble in the tunnel, so there's not going to be an escape because the ship is sitting there waiting for him to get out, but they can't get to it, so they're going to die. And I guess, I don't know, I was kind of actually hoping, and I guess this will get settled when George R.R. Martin actually finishes the last 2 books. But, there's Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers was I forgot about that. Aaron Rodgers, they had a couple of other famous people that have visited the set over the last 2 years. They've shown footage. George Lucas, that first episode that was shot, George Lucas was on the set while they were shooting a lot of those scenes. They've got footage of him just walking around and talking to Emilia Clarke and what's the guy that plays Jon Snow, and they were shaking hands with David and Dan. It wasn't David and Dan, the Benioff and DB Weiss. So yeah, wow, that just looks crazy seeing that woman sitting there all bloody and everything. But I thought I give it a thumbs up, but it has some problems. I understand, but the special effects top notch. Again, just great. A lot of action. I thought it was a great episode. But here's the problem. Let's talk about what's about to happen in episode 6, because there was some leaks right at the beginning of the season. I didn't want to talk about them, but since we're on the last episode, let's actually talk about some of the things that have come out that are going to be in episode 6, because there was a pretty massive thread on Reddit that was exposing a lot of this stuff. And a bunch of it, at least 85-90% of what they said in the thread was true. There was some stuff about Brienne actually coming back down to King's Landing that did not happen. But the rest of it, about Varys getting killed and how he was going to get killed and all this kind of stuff, that stuff was accurate. So here's some things that I have heard are going to happen in episode 6, the last episode of Game of Thrones, which is most likely going to be called A Dream of Spring, just like they did the Winds of Winter when they did the Battle of the Bastards episode. So they're most likely this very last episode is going to be called A Dream of Spring, because that is the very last book in the Game of Thrones series whenever it gets written. Here's some things. Jon Snow is apparently going to be convinced, because they're going to arrest Tyrion. Tyrion's going to be arrested for releasing Jaime. by Dany, and she's going to execute him. And then Jon Snow's supposed to come talk to him, and Tyrion's going to go to talk to him and go, hey, you know she's crazy, you're going to have to take her out. And Jon's going to go to Dany and, kind of trick her into thinking that he wants to make out with her or whatever, but he's going to kill her. He's going to run his sword through Dany just to save everybody. But Jon doesn't want to be king. So he's going to kill her, and then he's going to turn himself in, and I guess they're just going to let him live even though he just murdered the queen. Apparently, he's going to turn himself in, and they're going to allow him to rejoin the Night's Watch, which that sounds stupid because the whole point of the Night's Watch was supposedly to stop the undead, the Whites, and the Night King and all that kind of stuff. We don't have a Night King anymore. So, there you go. But I guess we still need a Night's Watch just in case the undead start coming back up in another few thousand years. But that is what the leak is, that Jon Snow is going to kill Dany, and then he's going to turn himself in and take the black, as they say. Now, everybody wants to know who's going to actually become the king, who's going to sit on the Iron Throne. Here's another thing to leak, and I hope this isn't true. I hope this particular Reddit is not true. That who becomes the king is actually going to be Bran. Bran is going to become the king. He doesn't want to be king, and Bran is the three-eyed raven. So that's stupid to me, to make Bran the king. But this, again, the person that leaked this, they had a lot of real information that that ended up being correct about several of these episodes up to this point. So Bran is apparently going to become the king. Sansa will be Warden in the North, or Lady of the North, or whatever the hell they call it. So, which we expect that. Okay, so Bran becomes the king. They create a small council because Tyrion obviously does not get executed now. And you got, Davos Seaworth, Bronn of the Blackwater, and Tyrion will be counsel to the king. They'll be on the king's small council. So Bran will be the king, and then Davos, Bronn, and Tyrion are going to be his small council. And they'll help him rebuild everything in King's Landing. Okay. So, I don't really like that ending. I don't have any information on what happens to Arya, but she's obviously still alive because they were playing it like she's going to go and try to kill Dany. But as I just told you, it sounds like, according to this leaked Reddit, that it's going to actually be Jon Snow that kills Dany, and then he's going to become part of the Night's Watch again, even though there isn't a Night's Watch or whatever. Okay, now, there's actually going to be another episode of Game of Thrones. It's not actually an episode. It's a documentary called The Last Watch. It's going to air on May 26th. It's going to be, at least an hour and a half, I guess. It's at least a year ago, they pulled in a bunch of the old members, the original cast members of Game of Thrones. I know they flew Sean Bean in and a couple of the others. They want to have a retrospective. They want to talk about the history of the show. They want to talk about, so they got all the cast members together. They're going to have this big, to do and talk about. They did this like last year. And on the Game of Thrones YouTube right now, there is like about a 1.5-minute, 2-minute trailer from The Last Watch. And you'll see at the beginning, it's a huge table read with a bunch of the producers and all the actors and everything, and they're all sitting there with their final scripts. You see people that were playing like Northmen and wildlings and whatnot, and they're all like, man, this is the best job I ever had, and all this. I thought the little trailer, so I'm very much looking forward to the actual documentary. I'm looking forward to catching up with Sean Bean and a couple of the other actors that were so important to those early seasons of Game of Thrones. What's the guy, Jack something, the guy that plays Joffrey Baratheon, a lot of those guys. King Robert, I'd love to see, what's the woman that played Catelyn Stark, those are people I'd love to see them talk to, which I'm pretty sure from everything I heard, all those people were interviewed. So that's going to be cool. And, the bells. What did you guys think of it? Get in the comment box, let me know. So with that being said, I'm going to wrap this video up. And if you guys want to reach out to me, I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and right here on this YouTube channel. Everywhere is at Akari Press. And if you type in AkariPress.com, it will take you directly to my Indiegogo campaign for my comic book series brand with the phenomenal Kane White. We're on Teespring. We're on Amazon.com. The links to those are in the description. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like and subscribe. I'm out.